Being in nature, being in the wilderness is one of the most erotic exchanges I have in my life. It is why I bring people there, why I go there. And I will say not erotic in the sexual sense. And I will also say erotic in the sexual sense. Because for me, in my work and in my life, sexual energy is not always a sexual event. It is a life force creative event that is that is an experience of a flood of desire and eros and creative aliveness that comes from inside and then begins to get sort of like mirrored and milked and encouraged and shape shifted by just the presence of myself or a body in the wilderness. Tissue begins to change. We begin to look into a mirror of something that is actually natural, not into the built mechanical environment and try to concretize ourselves to fit into a mechanical model and call that our humanness, call that the way we relate, call that the way that we are then going to engage in relationship, in becoming in our own bodies. And so this particular conversation for me, I mean, it was you, Liz, that brought that whole newsletter and my experience last week on the river into this conversation. I'm not sure I would have, because it's just so kind of, I don't know, in me, I wasn't looking at it from that in that way. But I am fascinated and drawn into this conversation through myself and my work in this curiosity and exploration around the way that we have given ourselves margins of safety inside of which to live that are a sedation, a suffocation, and these margins of homeostasis that we have said, these are the bounds of sensation, of experience, of relationship, of expression. Inside of these banks is where I feel safe, and anything outside of that reads as problematic in the animal body. It reads as anxiety, danger, terror, overwhelm, and then causes us to come right back into a margin of homeostasis that keeps us in an objectified relationship with living, as well as inside of the margins that we spend all day longing to get out of. And it is the animal body. It's like the impulses. How can we come back to learning to trust impulses and risings of energy, of expression that are coming out of the animal body that don't necessarily fit inside of the margins that we have both been dictated and decided from inside that is where we belong, where we live. And something that arises often in both my work with story and sexuality is actually the place that I really started to see this pattern. But it also comes up in my work with writers and writing in my own world. But that when the creative impulse rises up through our tissue as a sensation, as an impulse, so often that is interpreted as anxiety, and it is immediately stifled and put back in its quiet little box of sedated suffocation. That we live there. So when a rise of an impulse toward speaking something, expressing something, saying something, the thrill of what will actually bring us alive and move us toward deep longing, that we clamp down on it, we shy away from it, we move away from aliveness, almost as a rule. As any way that it wants to express, we veer and go back into the margins of homeostasis.